It was the kind of night where the storm felt personal, like the sky had decided to fall apart just for me. Thunder cracked so loud I thought my windows might shatter, and rain slapped against my front door like it was angry. I was sitting at my tiny kitchen table, the one with the peeling edge and one wobbly leg, going through my third rejection letter of the week. Rent was due in 5 days, and I had $13 to my name. I pulled my thin sweater tighter around me like that would keep the fear out. And then came the knock. I almost didn't hear it. So soft, so hesitant. But it was there. 3 knocks barely louder than the rain. I froze. Who knocks on doors in this neighborhood during a storm? My heart pounded like it already knew something was about to change. I peeked through the peephole and my breath caught. 2 little girls, soaked to the bone, huddled together, maybe 8 years old, holding hands like if they let go, they'd disappear. I didn't think. I opened the door. They looked up at me with those wide, terrified eyes, brown like polished amber. One of them whispered, "We're sorry to bother you. We just didn't know where else to go." That hit me right in the chest. They'd knocked on doors for hours, turned away by everyone. 20 households. 20 adults who looked at those babies and said no. I grabbed the only 2 towels I had and wrapped them up. "You're safe now," I told them. "What are your names?" The taller one said, "I'm Layla, and this is my sister Naomi. We were waiting for our dad after school, but he never came." Turns out the storm had flooded their school basement, and everyone got sent home early. But their dad didn't show up, and their phones stopped working. So they waited, and waited, until they couldn't anymore. Then they walked. Miles. In the storm. That night I gave them my bed. They protested. Sweet girls kept saying they didn't want to be a burden. I told them flat out, kids get the bed. That's the rule. I curled up on my couch, stomach growling because I'd given them the last of my food. But for the first time in months, I didn't feel hollow. I felt needed. Next morning, I made French toast with the last 3 slices of bread dipped in milk I'd been saving, sprinkled with sugar from a packet I found in an old takeout bag. They lit up like I'd served them a 5-star breakfast. "Best French toast ever," Naomi said, with a grin so big I forgot the fear for a while. They helped me build a blanket fort in my living room, just some old sheets and chairs, but to them it was magic. Layla said, "It's like we're princesses hiding from the storm." And I said, "Or warriors rebuilding their kingdom." We laughed so hard the neighbors probably thought we'd lost it. But behind the smiles, something didn't sit right. Their clothes, though soaked, were clearly expensive. Shoes I'd only seen in fancy mall displays. These weren't girls from my side of town. Something didn't add up. I asked gently, "What's your dad's name?" Layla said. "Vincent Harwood." My heart skipped. I'd read that name. He owned half the tech startups in the city. Worth millions. Maybe billions. I tried calling the number they gave me, no answer. Cell service was still spotty. But when I finally got through, the voice on the line stopped me cold. "This is Vincent Harwood. If you have information about my daughters, please, please call me back. I'll do anything. I just need them safe." The twins heard it too. They started crying, not scared, just overwhelmed. "Papa sounds so sad," Naomi whispered. I left another message. "Your daughters are safe. They're with me. My name is Carmen. Call me." That evening I was washing dishes when I heard tires screech outside. I looked out the window and saw it. A black SUV flanked by 2 police cruisers. A man jumped out before the car even stopped. Tall, clean-cut, with eyes that matched his daughters. He didn't wait for introductions. He saw them through the window and ran. Layla, Naomi. He fell to his knees in my doorway, hugging them so tight I thought he might never let go. Then he looked up at me, eyes brimming with tears, and said, "You saved them. Saved my daughters. I didn't know what to say. I just stood there barefoot in my worn-out t-shirt, holding a dish towel and feeling like I'd accidentally wandered into someone else's story. But it wasn't over. Naomi looked up at him and said, "Papa, can Maria come home with us?" He froze. I froze. And suddenly all eyes were on me. I have my own place. I stammered, knowing full well my fridge was empty and the eviction notice was taped behind my door. Mr. Harwood looked around my apartment at the sagging couch, the cracked floor tiles, the stack of job rejection letters, and he said, Maybe we could talk about spending more time together." That night, he sent a car to pick me up for dinner. His house wasn't a house, it was a palace. Marble floors, winding staircases, a chandelier the size of my living room. But none of it compared to the way Layla and Naomi lit up when they saw me walk in. They didn't care about the wealth, they just wanted more stories, more blanket forts, more French toast. At dinner, he asked me what I did for work. I said, "Right now I survive." And he nodded like he understood more than I gave him credit for. Then he said, "You're not just the woman who helped my daughters. You're the woman who reminded them what joy feels like." A week later, I moved into the guest house. A month after that, he asked if I'd stay. Not as a nanny, not as staff, but as part of the family. And I said yes. But here's the twist. The part people either cheer for or question. 6 months later, he proposed. Right there in the garden where we built our first fort. I said yes again. Some folks say I'm a gold digger. That I got lucky. That I knew who those girls were the second I saw them. They don't know I was one eviction notice away from homelessness. They don't know I almost didn't open that door. They don't know I did it because I was once a kid, cold and scared, hoping someone would let me in. So I ask you, when did doing the right thing become suspicious? When did kindness start needing a background check? Tell me in the comments. What would you have done that night? Would you have opened the door or walked away? Because sometimes the storm isn't just outside. It's the thing inside us that says, they're not your problem. And sometimes, opening that door, it saves everybody.